Okay, so I finished straining the residue, then I put some aqua in there. And to see that we're on the right track, I'm going to test it for gold. So I'll get one of my pipettes here. Just get a little sample of it. Don't need that much, I'll put some back in there. I've got a beaker here that I store it in, so I'll rinse it in that, and that water will go into my aqua at some stage, some other point. So there's my test sample, and now I've got to find my, there it is, my stannous chloride. Okay, let's see what we got here. Wow, that's a good result, and that's only from a tiny bit of residue. There was only a little bit of residue in there, as you saw. And I've got the whole bucket to go through yet, so I'm going to cover it over, put a lid on it, and then I'm going to put some more nitric in there, see if there's any fumes, which means any more gold being dissolved. And it won't matter at this stage if I over nitric, because I've got the rest of the residue to go through. When I get to the last bit of residue, that's when I'm going to need to slow down on the nitric and make sure that I don't over nitric. So I'll do that in a minute. I'll need 2 hands, so I'll put a lid on and put some more nitric in. Alright, so I've put way more nitric in there than needs to be on purpose, so that I can make sure that everything in there is dissolved and I don't need to do a second extraction. I've stirred it. I'm just going to let it sit for a little while. I've covered it, and you can see there's no fumes in there. So I reckon I've got all the gold that's in there. And as I said before, it doesn't matter that I've over nitricked, because I've got all this residue in here that I've got to sort. So I'm going to tip off all this solution, which is nitric acid that was dissolving any steel and bright copper and so on. And I'll be washing some of that sediment and then putting that sediment in here once I've filtered out the sediment that's in there. So I'm going to drain all that aqua off, wash the sediment, make sure I get all the gold solution out of it, and then dispose of the sediment and replace it with some sediment from in here. And I'll keep doing that until I get to the bottom. So right now I can afford to put more nitric than need be, until I start getting low on sediment. Okay, so I've poured off all the used nitric that I was soaking this residue in, and I'm now putting new rainwater in here, just enough to cover it. That should be plenty. And I'm going to put some new fresh nitric acid in there. Alright, I haven't got gloves on because I'm not going to touch the acid, just pour in the bottle. I just want to make sure that I've dissolved any silver and copper and anything else that's in there. I'll check for the next 5 minutes or so, see if I have any fumes coming up. There's no bubbling or reaction at the moment, so there's a good chance that I've got it all. And it's not going to matter if I've just put the nitric in, it's not going to go to waste, because I've got other things that I need that solution for. I can use second-hand nitric for other things. So I'm going to let that sit now. I can see some fumes now. I'll put it out in the sun. It's a hot day, so I'll put it out in the sun and give it a couple of hours and then see what's going on. Okay, so I'm filtering the AR out of that residue into here. That's just the liquid at this stage, and let that go through faster before it blocks the filter up. Once that's almost through, then I'll tip the rest of that in. In the meantime, I've scooped some more residue out of the bucket with the fines, and I'm going to give that a bit of a rinse out while I'm waiting for the AR to filter. Get some of this blue liquid out, and then once that's done and this has all been filtered through, I'll pour that AR into this beaker, and I'll keep doing that until it's all gone. So this is the bucket that's got the coarse heavy metal stuff in there, the steel IC chips, etc. And there's still a lot to be dissolved. I just gave it a stir and a whole pile of fumes came up from stuff that was buried and couldn't get to the chemicals. I come out about twice a day and stir it. I think you can see the fumes in there. I can anyway. Now this one here, the fines, there's no more reaction, so that's why I'm starting to filter that and process that. But this one I think is going to take a while longer. So it's going to take a lot for those solid steel things to get dissolved. Okay, so I've taken some more fine residue out of the bucket. I'm just going to do batches about that size at a time. It's been rinsed and the gold solution from the last lot has been filtered. So I'm going to pour this in there. Now I'll rinse it out with a squirt gun when I've got two hands free. Oh, my girlfriend will do it for me. And so I'll just keep doing that. There's no point in me showing you every time I do it. And I'll be back when I've got the last of it in the solution. Alright, so far I've made 3 batches with scoops, about probably 2 or 3 of these scoops at a time. As I said, I don't want to put too much residue in the mix because then it might not, it will get caked at the bottom and it won't get to the acid. I'd rather do small amounts and make sure that I'm getting every bit of gold. And I've been adding them to the same batch each time. I'm ending up with quite a bit of solution because each time you change things from one beaker to another, you've got to rinse out the beaker, or each time you stir it you've got to squirt down your spoon, or rinse out your funnels when you're filtering, and it just soon piles up. Now I'm going to drop the gold from this solution and start a new one for the next batch, and I'll probably end up doing that a couple of times before this video's out, and have several piles of gold that I've dropped, and I'll add them all together. Now I added, this is the last bit that's of the residue that's filtering now. The residue that I have got so far from other batches, I put into a new beaker of AR, just to see if I was getting all the gold. And when I did a stannous test, there was the tiniest purple result, which means I nearly got it all. And I'm glad I'm doing this second batch just to make sure that I get every bit of gold. So this is the end of the 3. I'm making some more copper as we speak. I've got a bottle of it there that I've made up so far, but I'm going to be making some crystals with this. And as the residue goes, I've still got all this residue here, as well as the bucket of coarse stuff. So I'm going to be at this for quite a while. I'm hoping to have it finished within a week because I've got the competition happening. I've got 2 tall beakers now that I've emptied today. I'm going to give those a wash, get them all nice and clean, and then start 2 more batches. And I'm going to try and press on through this as fast as I can, and just give you an update of where I'm up to so far. So once that little bit there has funneled through, I will then put copper as in there and drop whatever gold I can get from it, and then I'll put that aside and I'll keep doing that until I'm done. Well, I'm slowly getting through the coarse material. I've done about 3 beaker loads so far. There's some in there. Some in there, excuse me, a bit of a cough. I'm going to quit this smokes, I think. Now, this one here has gold solution in it, which I'm filtering at the moment. and there's some gold solution, which the main gold is in here, but there's some in suspension, so I'm trying to catch it in filters. And all the gold that I've received so far from all the different filters are in here. This is AR, I'm just sort of refining it all as I go. And then once all of this is done, and all of these are done, and everything's filtered and put in there, I'll drop it as one lump of powder. This bucket's now nothing to do with it anymore, that's got silver in there. So I'm getting through it. Now I know that the competition is running, and it's already been about a week, I think, since I started the competition. I'm sorry if it's taking so long, but this coarse material is taking so long. There's gold solution in there, by the way. I filtered it and filtered it and filtered it. I've had it running with water and nitric for so long. Like, I kept pouring out the old solution, putting new water and nitric in there, and most of the big chunks just aren't going away. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if they're stainless steel or what. I've never seen anything like it. So I've decided just to put AR in there, and I'm just going to have to deal with whatever pollutants are in there, because I just can't get rid of them. So yeah, I'm trying to get this done as quick as I can. Just giving you an update where I'm up to so far. I suspect maybe 3 or 4 more days, depending on how the weather goes. I'm having a few fairly cool days. They're still hot, but fairly cool compared to what it has been. So I'm able to get a lot of work done, and I hope real soon to have the quantity of gold to show you guys. It's been really great, the people who have entered so far. I had a pretty good response. I was hoping for a lot better, but you know, the competition's not over yet. As soon as I post this video, the competition will stop. Good luck to everybody who's entered. I'll come back once there's more to show you. Okay, so I'm really close to the end now, which I'm excited about. This is all the coarse sediment. You see all the metal stuff that was flying around in the mixer that wouldn't break. And there's some of them that are red. I don't know if this is showing up on the camera as red, but they're a red colour. It looks like copper. So what I did was I picked a whole pile of them out, and I put them in nitric acid with some water. And although there's a bit of discoloration in the liquid, nothing at all has happened to this copper, if it's copper. See the gold brazing that's on it? So it's got me beat what it is. It's brand new nitric with some water. As you can see, just a little bit of discoloration, that's it. And I don't understand, that copper should have all been eaten. It's been on the heat for, what, 2 days? I just don't get it. So I'm going to decant this solution, put some aqua in there and try and get that gold brazing, and see what comes of that. So that's that. And this is the second last batch of coarse sediment, which had been soaking in nitric. There's some other batches that I'm filtering out. You see all the gold solution. This gold has been dropped, and that's all fine gold that was in suspension. And over here, I've got one more batch of coarse sediment, which is in nitric now. And you can see there's plenty of fumes in there cooking off all the base metals. And this is my gold so far from all the different batches. You can see all the different filters that I've been throwing in there. So this is aqua. Each time I've dropped gold, I've put it in there. And it's growing, it's getting mounting up quite nicely and getting a fair bit out of it. So once I've got the last of this one done and all those other ones over there, once I've got all these sorted, I'll put the filter in there and I'll treat it and drop it and see what gold we get. Can't wait. I want this video finally over. Okay, so I'm filtering some gold which I've dropped, and I wanted to show you this in case you guys are having the same problem. Sometimes you drop the gold and you don't see it in the bottom of the dish or the beaker or whatever you're using, and you think, where's my gold? Why can't I see my gold? What's going on? I thought I would have got more. And it's actually so fine, it's in suspension. Now, sorry about the dirty beaker, but you can see it's a really dirty solution. You can't see any gold sitting on the bottom. Half the reason why it's so dirty is because the gold's all in suspension. Now I've been filtering it. You see the black? The real fine black. That's all my gold. All these, I've got them so many because I want to get this filtered quickly, otherwise it'll take forever. So all of these filters have all got gold in them. Now what I've done is I've poured it in there, and it's so fine that it makes its way through the paper. So then I've tipped all the solution back into here using the same filter paper. I've then run it through again and again and again. As the paper blocks up with the gold, it will then start to catch more of it. Now, I think this is about the fourth time I've run it through, and you can see the colour now. It's a more clear green as opposed to dirty green. I know this is really dirty. I washed all my beakers yesterday apart from this one because I had the solution in. But that's why it's so dirty, because the gold is actually in suspension. It's not sitting at the bottom. And why is it like that? Because it's a dirty solution. It's contaminated fairly badly with copper and all the other stuff. So if ever you do a gold drop and you think, how come I can't see all my gold sitting at the bottom? Why isn't it nice and brown like you see on other videos? You know, did it work? What did I do wrong? Chances are you did nothing wrong. If your solution's not nice and clear and see-through like that, then there's a chance that all your gold is in solution. So I'm happy with the clarity of this now. I'm pretty sure that there's no gold left in there. I'm just going to keep filtering this lot through until it's all gone, and then all this solution goes in my stock pot. If there is any gold left in there, it would only be the most minute amount, and that would be recovered from my stock pot. So this is what I've been doing this whole time. It's why it's taken us so long for all these kilos of stuff, is because I'm getting these fine gold drops, and I'm having to filter it and filter it and filter it and filter it. And that's why my beaker over here with AR in it has so many filters in there, because I keep getting so many filter papers like that, all with gold in them. Now once I'm finished with this solution and this solution's all gone through the filters, I'll be grabbing each one of these filters and putting it in that jar, in that beaker there. So that beaker now has at least 15, maybe 20 filters in it, because there's 2, 4, 6, 7 just here alone, and this is only one batch. Now we're very close to the end. That is my last batch of aqua regia. It's the last of the coarse sediment that I've done, and I did a test on it. Beautiful, nice yellow solution, probably the cleanest of all of them. It looks dark there because it's so concentrated. If I was to fill that, but put some more solution in there, like hydrochloric acid or even some water, and dilute it, that would go nice and yellow. You can see by the bubbles how yellow it is. So you can see what I put on the test plate is nice and yellow, and the black inside, the black test, beautiful. So got to filter those, drop this gold, filter that, And because this is a nice clean batch, it might actually come out better than all the black sediment. The black fine suspended gold, it might turn out better than that. Only time will tell. So we're nearly there. Once I've dropped that powder, all these filters and the powder that I get from that will go into that beaker here, which the reason there's aqua regia in there, just so I can refine it all in one hit. All the gold that I get all in one hit I'm going to refine, and I'll have to keep refining it until I get a nice brown, chocolate brown powder. Sometimes you can get it straight away, sometimes first, second, maybe even, I've even sometimes done 3 or 4 refines until you get a nice brown powder. I've got some copperas in that container, the blue liquid there. That's left over from what I made. So I can do 1 drop with copperas, 1 drop with SMB. The best way to get a better purity is to use different precipitants. You don't keep using the same precipitant, in case, you know, something might travel across with one sort of precipitant and it won't travel with the other. Well, that's what it says in Hope's book anyway. So once I've dropped the gold from there, refined all that gold there, and then show you what I got. I'll melt it into a button as well, and then finally this video will be over and we will see who won the competition. Alright, so I'll carry on with this. I've got to strain that, get all the sediment out of it, and then drop the gold. Oh, hopefully I'll have some nice gold powder to show you soon. Alright, really close now. This is the last bit of powder that I need to put into the beaker here with AR in it. I really hate my SMB because it's food grade and it keeps sending my solutions dark. That's why I've got to filter it to find out where the gold is, because not only does the solution go really dark like this, but also the gold is really fine, black dust in suspension, so I can't stand it. But it's all I've got available, food grade SMB. Every once in a while it surprises me and I get a nice clean drop with clear liquid on top, but it doesn't happen very often. I usually find it better if I dissolve the SMB in water. But this time it's still doing the same thing. It goes like a burgundy colour, and it usually has like a skin formed all over it, and that's some of what's in here. And then see how the filter now is all coloured, and then when I put them in the AR, now the AR's gone all coloured, that should be nice and gold. But yeah, the colouring is annoying, I hate it. But it's what I've got to work with. So I'll put that in the beaker, tip this into my stock pot, and once it's had a half an hour or so to dissolve, I will filter all of this and drop the gold. I am concentrating my copperas. I've got some nice crystals down the bottom, down there. I'm adding to it as I go, making more copperas, because I would rather use the copperas to drop the gold. I'm trying to avoid the SMB, but I'm going to have to at some stage, because you can't keep using one precipitant. So I'll get that filter into here, and we'll be back when it's time to drop the gold. Okay, so I've actually had this on heat for probably 3 or 4 hours, adding little bits of nitric at a time. I did have this lid on top, and I could see that there was very few fumes in there. There was a few, but not much. Very slight fumes. This is my copperas. It's coming along quite nicely. Anyway, so I've turned this off now. I'm just going to let it cool down a bit and then filter it. Now, because of the colour, I have no way of knowing if all the gold is dissolved. By rights, this should be a golden colour, and I should either see the gold is not dissolved or it's all gold, you know. So when I filter it, I mean, I always keep my filters anyway, but I'm going to put the filter at the end of all this filtering into a little bit of nitric acid, into a little bit of AR, and just see if any more gold comes out of it. Hopefully it'll filter nice and gold clear colour, but I can't see it changing. I think it's going to be a dark solution. I really hate that SMB. But I'm going to filter this coarse as well, and I'm going to use that to drop the gold from this. So I've got to top this up a bit more and add some more sulfuric. And the steel is nearly all gone, so I'll add some more steel. But I might filter this part first and then start a new batch, I think, because I'm going to need this ready for when that's ready. Alrighty. Okay, so you can see as I'm filtering it, it's coming out a lovely gold colour. So my guess is it's just so concentrated that it's why it's so dark. There is a bit of stuff in suspension, which should hopefully come out when I filter it, but look how nice and gold that is. Hopefully it stays like that. Hopefully any rubbish stays in the filter. I've also got a cotton ball underneath the filter just to slow it down and catch everything I can. With my coarse, I've strained all the muck out of it. Got some nice dark green coarse there, and then I've just started a new batch because I'm going to need a fair bit for all this gold here. So that's looking nice. With a bit of luck, I'll have the video finished today. Well, it's about 3:30 in the afternoon. Maybe it'll be finished tomorrow morning. But looking at that coarse, it's a really nice dark green colour, nice and strong. So we'll see how this is when it's all filtered. Okay, so the solution has all been filtered through. It's I know it looks brown in the video, but it's actually so orange it's gone brown, if that makes sense. I actually had different vessels going with filters in each one, and all the solutions were orange. It wasn't until I put them all in the one that it's gone like a browny colour. It's only because it's so concentrated. I got coarse here. I don't think there's going to be enough, but I'm making more over there anyway. So I'll put this in. I've already put a little bit of sulfuric acid in there just to make sure it's neutralised. And we'll see what happens. Colour change. I'm going to have to squirt this beaker out. I can't do it to one hand, so I'm back. Okay, well that's in there. I can see a lot of stuff happening. There's a lot of things moving around and reactions, so that's good. It's going a nice chocolate brown. It's a good sign. I'll test it once it's all settled, and if there's still gold in solution, I'll have to use some of the new stuff I'm making, but it might just be enough, we'll see. So now it's going to have to settle till tomorrow morning. I'm so close, I can't wait. I want this video finished, it's taken too long. So I'll get the gold powder, I'll clean it and then put it in the kiln, what do you call it, the furnace, and melt it. But I'll show you in the morning what we've got. Well, here we go, the moment we've all been waiting for. I've got all the gold filtered, so all the filters are gone. Nice clear solution, clean beaker, and I'm putting in some SMB dissolved in water. Spinning nice and slowly in case it overflows. I don't see any colour change yet, and I don't see any white foam bubbles. It's still yellow. I've got I've put sulfuric acid in there, so it shouldn't be high in nitric. So we'll just give that some time to see what happens. It is changing colour a little bit. But see how that goes. Well, that didn't take long. Just a couple of minutes and it's gone really brown. Nice. We'll see what we get when it settles. I don't know if that's some down there at the moment. Can't see, but yeah, we'll let it settle and see what we got. Okay, so it's the next day. I came out to check on this, hoping that it had all dropped. The brown solution was kind of transparent. You couldn't quite see through it, but it was transparent compared to last night. And there was gold at the bottom, but because it wasn't clear, I thought, well, I'll do a test. So I did a stannous test. Very still black. So I put some more SMB in there about 5 minutes ago, and now it's a waiting game, and I think I may have to put more again because I'm expecting a lot of gold in there. So getting there. I came out to check on the gold and it still hadn't settled, so I did another test and it still came up positive, which is no surprise. There should be lots of gold in there. So I put some more water in SMB, but the beaker wasn't big enough, so I've split it into two. It looks like there's more SMB in this one than this one, so I'll adjust that in a minute. I'll pour some more of this in there or some more of that in here. And I've drained out the gold that was in the bottom, and I've put it in here to sort out. And then when some more gold drops, I'll do the same thing. I might tip some of this. It's just a little bit, not quite enough room for the whole lot. You see there's some gold down in there. It's a black powder, which is common for this stupid SMB that I've got. So I'll give that a stir, and then I'll put some of that back into this beaker. Keep chopping and changing. And soon enough I'll have it all dropped. And I'm hoping to get a fair bit more yet. Well, 2 more times since I last filmed, I came out to check these, and there's gold in the bottom, quite a nice layer, but both times the solution was still pregnant. I did more tests and each came back positive, getting less, as you can see when you compare those to that, but still pregnant. So I've been putting more SMB into them and it's starting to clear, as you can tell. So I'm going to do another test now. The solution looks fairly clear, and it doesn't go black straight away. It actually takes a little while. Give it 5 minutes or so, and then it usually shows the dark patch. I'll do a test now and then I'll check it in a few minutes. It goes brown first, like that, and then over time it goes black. See, it's even going black now. Still pregnant. So I put some more SMB in it. I didn't even need to check in 5 minutes because that was a pretty quick response. I'll put some more SMB in now. Roughly every, I don't know, hour or two I've been checking it. And I'll just keep doing that. Some people will say, why don't you just put a whole lot of SMB in? Or why waste it? I don't know when it's going to stop being pregnant. I'd rather just do small doses. When I say small doses, it's not actually small. I'm putting this whole scoop, which is roughly 3 teaspoons, maybe even 4, 3 or 4 teaspoons. I fill it up like that and put that into a container, some water, and pour it in. So it's a fair bit. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'll come back when it's finally not positive. Okay, so I just put SMB in this one, and you can see a dramatic colour change straight away. And my girlfriend's here now, she's going to film when I do the second one. So I'm going to mix up some more SMB, and then I'll put it in this one here.
Yep.
See, it's gone dark straight away. Give this a squirt out. There's still some powder in there. Not quite as dark as that one, but still pretty dark. Okay, so we'll come back in an hour or two. Okay, I was going to come back after I've finished dropping all the gold, but I've come to a predicament and I thought you guys should see it. There's a lot of gold floating on top, and on 2 occasions I come out with a spray bottle and lightly sprayed it on top. Usually that drops the gold, but it keeps floating. And when I did a test to see if there's any more gold in solution, which, you know, I got quite a bit here, which is looking nice, but when I did a test to see if there's still any gold in solution, there was still a very positive test. Now the problem is the pipette was sucking up bits of gold, and I don't know, I don't want that to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to filter all this, catch all that floating gold, and any of the liquid that comes through I will then continue dropping gold. I'll be able to hopefully save all the stuff on the bottom separately. There's a nice layer in this one too, and that's not counting this gold in here, which I've already put aside. So yeah, I'm going to filter that now, both of those. I've got a whole pile of clean flasks. This one here should be able to hold both of those containers easily, and then I can just put SMB in through the opening there, much easier. So I'll bring that one forward. I'll get a funnel that fits, and I'll put a paper in it. And I'm sure you guys know how to do all this, you don't need to see me filtering it. So I'll just get these little coffee filters here. I normally have bigger ones, but I've run out. It's hard to get one-handed. So these are cone-shaped ones, which I find easier for the funnels. Open it up, see it's in the shape of a cone, and they fit nicely in the funnel. Push it down. Now the gold fragments look to be big enough to be caught in a funnel. I doubt very much they're going to make it through the funnel, so I shouldn't need a cotton ball. So I'm going to pour it in through there, and then continue treating the liquid. I'll be back. So I've nearly poured the first one through, and you can see there's a nice bit of gold down the bottom there. This is pouring through quite fast. Look at that, beautiful. Once I get some more of this liquid out, you'll be able to see it better. I don't see a whole lot of gold in the funnel, but I know it would be because can see it floating before. How am I going to do this? Well, you can see it all there. Look at that. Beautiful. Alright, so I'll finish this one and then I'll start the other beaker. And I'll combine the gold that's left over. It's all stirred up now, so I'll let it sit for a bit. I'll be back. Now you can probably see that the cone has filled up the gold now. And there's quite a bit of gold in the paper. And the flow has dripped right down to drip, drip, drip instead of pouring. But I've only got a bit to go, so I won't change filters. Just means it's going to take a bit longer. So there's still all the gold in the bottom of this one yet, which I haven't done anything with. And the gold on here is looking quite nice. I'll put some hot water in that soon. I've got SMB ready to go. I put 2 scoops in this time. Just wait till I filtered all this gold. Okay, so I'm not far off pouring the last of this liquid into the filter. There's still some in there. You can see there's a nice amount of gold in the bottom. I'll put some in there now, but there's going to be room for more. That's it for now, so there's still a bit to go in here and then. And once I've got that through and this drains all through, I'll be squirting the filter down to get as much of the gold bearing liquid as I can into the flask. Then that filter will get washed along with the gold. This gold here and this gold here will end up in this beaker, which I've already started washing, as you can see. And what I do is I pour my wash water into this flask. You always want to keep your wash water, especially when the gold is a fine black dust like this, because even though I can't see any gold going over, it could very well be, and you will lose it. But this way it'll all settle in the bottom of the flask, and then you catch it later. So I'll just pour this water off. I started to try and escape then, and I'll add the other stuff to it when it's ready. This filter's taking quite a while now because it's so gummed up full of gold. Initially it was draining quite fast, and not much left of the room in there, but enough for this anyway. That'd probably go one more filter full. I'll squirt all the inside around there, get all the gold down. I'll do that now off camera. I need 2 hands. And so I'll show you when we're ready to start washing it, all of it together. Not far now. I just squirted the gold solution out of the paper, and I've noticed a brown ring on top of the solution, so I must have squirted some of the gold through the paper, but that's not a problem because when I drop the gold I'll get that later. So when this drains down, I'll put this filter over here. There's quite a thick amount of gold in there, and when I tip it up it's really nice. I've had to start a new beaker of wash water because see how it's all cloudy, so you can't physically see gold, but because it's all cloudy like that, that means there'll be gold in suspension, and that'll all settle out. And even this one's cloudy, see, it's not clear, so that'll eventually settle. There'll be gold in the bottom. I'm going to do one more water wash, and then I'm going to do some hydrochloric washes, well, probably just one hydrochloric boil, and then some more water washes. So I've got the kettle on now to do one more wash, water. I've got some hydrochloric acid here waiting to put in there afterwards, to boil it for a little while. Alright, so it's time to put the SMB in. I'm hoping there's going to be enough room in there for this. We'll see. Hopefully it'll be a good colour change straight away. Sometimes there is, sometimes there's not. Now I'm going to need to squirt the rest of this powder in. It is starting to change. It's getting a bit darker. I'll squirt that in and then let it sit for a while and see what happens. Okay, so I've dropped the last of the gold. The solution now is clear of any gold bearing thing. Comes up with a negative test. There's quite a bit of gold in there. I've already put some filters in here, and I'll put these filters in there now and then start the wash procedure. I don't think I need to show you. You've seen it on my other videos. I'll come back when it's time to refine the gold. Now, for anybody who's getting black powder like this and wondering why it doesn't come in down as brown, chocolate brown, or even better still, really yellow clumps as you see on some of the videos, don't worry, this is quite normal. I very rarely get a nice chocolate brown from the very get-go. As far as I know, to get that you need to have a super clean aqua regia, so no contaminants in there whatsoever. I am very skeptical when I see people in their videos where they're getting a nice chocolate brown on the first drop. Yesterday, for instance, I watched a video and they had a really dirty green solution, really dirty, and the gold clumped as yellow gold, like a really yellow clumps. The only time I've ever seen that is when someone has used oxalic acid to drop the gold. There's a lot of funny business that goes on YouTube. I try not to show any of the rubbish. I try to make it as real as it is. So this is what you can expect for a first drop from a dirty solution. I've even had to refine gold 3 or 4 times before it starts going chocolate brown. It's just, I don't know how they do it. I am convinced, I'm not saying people are dodgy, but I'm convinced that something's going on, because I see so many people with dirty solutions and they get a chocolate brown drop for the very first go. It's just not, to my knowledge, to my experience, not possible. There may be some out there who want to say I'm wrong. Well, I can only go by my experience. So if you're not getting a nice brown gold clumping from the very first go, don't think you're doing something wrong. As long as you're getting something, you know, if it's got black powder like this, well then that's something. It'll get better as it gets refined. The wash procedure, I've said this before and I'll say it again, is very important. You have to get the wash procedure right in order to get rid of contaminants. Otherwise you'll never get the dark brown or chocolate brown powder. You'll see as this goes on, once I've washed it and refined it, it'll start to improve. So while I'm doing my water washes, I've got the second one done so far. There's all the wash water that I've poured out, and this is a new lot of water that's just gone in. I've made some copperas because this gold was dropped with SMB, so the next time I refine it, this refined now, I'll use copperas. There's a video I've made, if you look back through my videos, if you want to know how to make the copperas. This has turned out really well. I need to filter it now, so I'll start filtering that. You see the crystals are starting to form already, so I'll have this filtered by the time this is all washed and ready to use aqua regia, and then I'll drop it with the copperas. So when I was boiling the gold in hot water, in hydrochloric acid, it was nice enough to break all the filters up. You see all the gold down there. There's no room left in that flask. I'll carefully carry this over to a beaker and pour some off into the beaker. There is a lot of gold powder going across, I can see. There's the fine stuff. I'll stop there. There's going to be a lot of gold sediment in that as well. So now it's time for some hot water. Okay, so this is a classic example of why you want to keep your wash water. Look at all the gold that's settled at the bottom. And that's just one container. Then there's the other one. There's the gold down there. So I'm going to pour that water off and then try and get the gold into here, because this is ready to start dissolving again. I'll do that now with your hands off camera. Alright, so I'm ready to refine. I'm going to put some hydrochloric acid in. Don't need much. And then I've got some nitric acid here. I'm just going to put pipettefuls at a time. There's only not even half a pipette. I don't know how many mils are in a pipette. I'm guessing probably 3. So this is only about 1 mil. This is about a third of the pipette. I'll put that in there now, and I'll just keep adding small amounts as I need it. I'll put a cover on this and I'll put some heat on it. It doesn't have to be very hot, just low, medium. I'll keep an eye on it, and when all that brown's gone, I know the gold's dissolved. Should end up with a nice either yellow or orange solution. I'll just keep adding small amounts of nitric at a time. You never want to over nitric it, or you'll have trouble dropping the gold. I just wanted to show you this. It's not related to the video, but, well, actually it is, because I was using this beaker. It's one of my 3-litre beakers. Nice big crack in the bottom. I was losing solution out onto the table and couldn't work out why. And a dirty big crack in the bottom of it. This is my 6th beaker this year that's broken. And these, especially these big ones, they're not cheap. I can't afford to keep replacing them. If I keep going at this rate, I'll run out of beakers soon. Not good. You can see it doesn't take a whole lot of nitric acid. That was all I put in there, that little bit that you saw, a third of a pipette. It looks like it's mostly dissolved already. I'll just let that cook for a little while. I'll give it a bit of a stir, wait for some of those filter pieces to disintegrate some more. They fall apart real easy in aqua regia. And make sure it's all dissolved. But yeah, that's all I needed, was that little bit of nitric acid. Okay, I've finished filtering the gold. Looks like there might be just a hint of gold left in that dead filters, but for now I'll just put that in my filter storage. So now I'm going to put some coarse in there. Now, for those who want to know how much, I've looked everywhere. The only literature I can find is if you're using ferrous sulfate as the crystal form, it's 6 grams of ferrous sulfate per gram of expected gold. But this wasn't made with ferrous sulfate, it was made with the iron and all the rest of it. So the best way I found is to, whatever the quantity of solution, put that quantity of coarse. So I'm going to pour this in. Oh, a nice colour change. Beautiful colour change, nice and fast. Now just let it sit and see what there is. Alright, the gold has dropped nicely. You see it down there. So I'll pour the solution off and start the wash process, and then we can start drying the gold and see what we got. We're nearly there now.